Here is something nobody tells you at the start. Most people who quit their job to run an online business are not running a business. They are running a very stressful, very lonely freelance gig with no HR department, no paid leave, and a boss who sends emails at 2 a.m. That boss is them. And yet, something real happened in the last decade. A subset of people figured out a different model. Not influencer fame. Not drop shipping courses sold to other people selling drop shipping courses. Something quieter. More durable. And the math behind it is either going to make you feel hopeful or genuinely unsettled, depending on how you look at it. Let's look at it clearly. The internet did not democratize business the way we were promised. Not exactly. What it actually did was compress the distance between a specific skill and a global customer. That sounds like the same thing. It is not. Here is the difference. Old economy, you have a skill, you find a local employer, they pay you a salary, they capture most of the value you create. New economy, you have a skill, you build a system around it, you find buyers anywhere on the planet, and the value flows directly to you. The employer disappears. So does the ceiling. The businesses that actually changed people's lives were not the ones chasing trends. They were the ones that identified a repeatable problem, built a repeatable solution, and then automated the gap between the two. Let's talk about what that looks like in concrete terms, because the abstraction is where people get lost. Say you are an accountant. Traditional path, $40,000 a year at a firm, maybe $60 if you are lucky, a ceiling around $80 if you become a manager and stop doing the thing you were good at in the first place. Online path, version 1, you go freelance. You charge by the hour. You swap a bad boss for 12 demanding clients. Your income goes up slightly. Your anxiety goes up significantly. This is not the model. Online path, version 2, you notice that small e-commerce businesses make the same 5 accounting mistakes every single year. You build a short course, a checklist, a template pack. You charge $200 for it. You sell it while you sleep. Every unit sold costs you nothing extra to produce. That last part is the mechanism. And it is the part that breaks people's brains when they first encounter it. In a traditional service economy, your income is linear. You trade time for money. More time, more money. Less time, less money. The math is brutally simple and brutally capped. There are only so many hours. Digital products do not work this way. The first copy of a course, a template, a software tool costs real money to build. Hundreds of hours, sometimes thousands of dollars. But the second copy costs almost nothing. The 10,000th copy costs the same as the second. Almost nothing. Economists call this zero marginal cost. What it means in practice is that once the asset exists, the relationship between your effort and your revenue quietly decouples. You are no longer selling time. You are selling access to something you built once. The business that changed lives was almost always built on this principle. Not always consciously, but always structurally. Now here is where the story gets uncomfortable, because this is not a clean fairy tale. For every person who built a quiet, durable digital product business generating $30, $50, $100,000 a month, there are thousands who spent 2 years building a course nobody bought, a newsletter nobody opened, a podcast with 43 listeners, 11 of whom are family members who feel obligated. The failure rate is not disclosed in the testimonials. It never is. The uncomfortable math is this. The internet creates winner-take-most markets. Not winner-take-all, which is important. But the distribution is brutal. In almost every niche, the top 10% of operators capture roughly 90% of the revenue. The bottom 50% are essentially doing expensive, time-consuming volunteer work. What separates them is not always talent. Sometimes it is timing. Sometimes it is network. Sometimes it is just the willingness to stay longer than everyone else who quit. Zoom out for a moment. What actually happened, at a macro level, is that a new economic class emerged in the 2010s. Not wealthy by inheritance. Not wealthy by salary. Wealthy by leverage. They built systems once and got paid repeatedly. They had no employees for years. No office. No commute. No performance review. This sounds like a fantasy. For some of them it became one, because the isolation is real, the inconsistency is real, and the psychological cost of having no floor beneath your income is real in ways that no LinkedIn success post will ever tell you. But the model itself works. We have enough data now to say that plainly. Tens of thousands of people, across dozens of countries, have built businesses generating more income than they would have earned in a decade of traditional employment. Some of them built it in 18 months. The question worth sitting with is not whether it is possible. We know it is possible. The real question is whether most of the people being sold the dream of an online business are being sold a business, or being sold the feeling of wanting one. And that distinction, between building something and consuming content about building something, might be the most important financial decision a person can make right now. Nobody is going to tell you which one you are doing. You have to figure that out yourself.